live coverage of the AWS Summit at Paris. I'm A.M. Grobelny. I am one of your co-hosts. I'm a developer advocate for the AWS GameDay team. I'm joined by Steve.
I'm Steve Roberts, developer advocate for .NET and PowerShell at AWS.
And you have joined a live stream here from the AWS Summit. We're covering all things Summit related. We just, if you're just joining us, we just went through a game day, actually. Yep. One of my favorite things to do, obviously, because
well, you work
my
there.
team. Yeah, they pay me. So, but I would even do it if I didn't get paid.
It was fun.
It was fun.
It was fun. We'll be coming back to it later on.
Yeah, we will be back to that. I built a quest especially for Steve. Specifically to teach him a little bit of French because he seems reluctant. You don't seem to be retaining what I'm teaching you.
No, but languages, one ear, out the other ear. So
well, by the end of the summit, I expect you to have at least one phrase in French that you know now.
Beyond bonjour?
Beyond bonjour. Maybe bonjour tout le monde.
Yeah, no, now you've gone too far. Now you've gone too far.
All right. Now, what are we going to be covering? Now, this is... just to give the audience a little bit of background and context, right? We run shows on AWS On Air as well. We've got Code Corner. We've got stuff of your game day. You just saw Jillian from the startup program. We're going to be taking a little special segment of Code Corner now, right?
Yeah. So what we're going to do now is look at one of what we call our modernization tools on the .NET side of the world. Actually, it works with Java as well.
Okay.
So imagine this scenario where you have some kind of app, legacy app, that's been running for years on a desk, on a computer underneath somebody's desk.
In the catacombs,
right?
I think
in the catacombs.
They're actually in the French catacombs running a server.
Or it's running in your own data center somewhere, and you want to move that application to the cloud. You don't want to change anything in it.
Okay.
Right? Not a line of code change, not a configuration change, nothing. Just want to lift it and just move it.
Okay.
Right? So there's a tool that we have called apt2container. Now, we've been talking a lot recently in some of the shows about these modernization tools for .NET. But I realized recently we'd not actually covered apt2container.
No.
So I figured let's take a look at it, right? Yeah. So the idea behind apt2container is it's a command line tool that you need to install you need it on the application server.
Yes.
Okay. And then you can either do all the work on the application server itself, if you have access to it, right? Okay. Or you can actually do it from a worker machine that connects remotely to the application server, right? And what you're basically going to do is run this apt2container app, and it's going to grab that app from the app server and pull it down locally and wrap it in a container.
So what it does is in the name.
Yes.
App
quite literally.
And then
helpful. You can deploy it, right?
Okay,
so,
all right.
So what I've got is I obviously don't have a server under a desk, right now, my own private data center, right? So I'm going to simulate it. I've got an elastic beanstalk deployment of a .NET sample called Contoso University. All .NET developers know Contoso University, right? This is just a SQL Server MVC app, right?
I forgot about that.
Here's Contoso, right? And it's running on Beanstalk and a VM. You can see here it's got an elastic beanstalk URL, okay? It's fully functional. It's talking to an RDS database, SQL Server. Well, that didn't work. But anyway, we'll leave that alone. But anyway, there it is. It's running, right?
don't push it too hard.
Push it too hard.
It's running under a desk.
It's running somewhere, right?
In the catacombs somewhere.
Yeah.
So.
And what I want to do is I want to grab this application, and I'm going to put it in a container. I'm not going to change anything about it. And then I'm not actually going to do the deployment because it'll take too long. I've actually pre-deployed it already. Yeah. Right? So I've been through this. But we'll walk through the commands and just show you how easy it is. So what I've got set up here is a worker machine, another EC2 instance. Again, it's running on Windows because I'm wrapping up a Windows .NET Framework 4.8 application, right? Okay. Framework 4.8 is no longer in active development, right? It's in maintenance only for security, right? So effectively, I can't do anything with this app. So what I need to do is first install apt2container on the application server, which I've already done. I've remoted into the Beanstalk instance. I've already installed it there, but I need to do it here. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So what I've done is I've actually downloaded apt2container, which comes as a zip file, okay? And you can see it's inside this apt2container installer Windows folder, right?
Yes.
So let's just cd into there. And what we get from that is an install script and some bits and bobs. So you would normally just run the install script. And again, I've been through this on this machine, so we're just echoing what I've already done. Okay. It just asks you to confirm a license.
Now, when you install this, do you have to use PowerShell, or can you use?
No, I could be in a different shell. I could be in
Okay.
cmd.exe. I just happen to be in a PowerShell window.
Okay.
Yeah, right. But that was a PowerShell script to install it. So,
right.
But
why
no,
not?
once it's running, no.
Okay.
Okay. So let me just head out of here. So we've actually done the install. So now we've done the install, we just need to initialize it. And again, this is something we'd have to do on the application server as well.
Okay.
So to do that, now it's installed, we have a command called apt-container. Okay, and we just run a command called init. Now, I've already been through this, so it's going to just prompt me with my values. So I have a working folder where it's going to work, A to C, on my system here, right? It knows that I'm running on an EC2 instance, so it's picked up my instance profile with permissions. So
interesting.
Use that, okay? And then it's going to say what region. So I'm in US West 2.
Yes.
I've got some buckets for artifacts I want to deploy. Yeah, whatever, one matrix. I don't mind about that.
I'm making an assumption here, Steve. Tell me if I'm right. You need Docker installed on whatever machine you're going to be running.
You do need Docker Engine, yes. Yeah. So this is an EC2 image with Docker support.
Do you need it on the application server?
No.
Okay.
Unless you're actually running this on the application server, then you would, right? But all the containerization will be done on this machine, on this worker machine, okay? All right, so we've done that. Now we need to tell it, okay, we need to get pointed at my remote servers.
Okay.
Okay? This is a step you wouldn't do if you're actually running this on the application server. So again, we're going to run apt-container. I'm going to say remote. Most of the commands in apt-container have a remote or a local version.
Right, since you're connecting up to an application
so remote,
server somewhere.
I can't type again. Remote configure. I'm still so excited about GameDay, I've lost the ability to type. Okay, so it needs the server IP address. This is going to be the IP address of my Beanstalk VM that's representing my application server. Okay, so I am to know this is 172. I have it written on a cheat sheet in front of me. 172.38.
Wait, you've got all these written down? You're not doing this from memory?
I know. Isn't that bad?
Wow.
If I give an IP address, I don't need to give it a fully qualified domain name.
Okay.
Right? Now remember, this can work for Java as well. This is not just .NET, okay? But then he wants a secret on for remote credential, right? He needs to know what are the credentials that we're going to access on the instance to actually get into the instance, right? So on here, I'm going to go to what happened to my... no, I don't want that one. I want this one. Oh, you know what? I did not open up my console, so we'll have to do this very briefly live. In we go.
There we go.
I actually threw away my tab. All right, so let's go into Secrets Manager.
You're hanging out in Secrets Manager a lot today,
I am, aren't I? Yeah. So here is my Contoso dev. Okay, so this is the secret that has the credentials in it for my Beanstalk VM. All right, so I'm going to copy that, and we'll go back to here and paste that.
See, look at this, too. Unlike what you just did in GameDay, you didn't retrieve the secret value.
No, I don't need to. I just need to give it the on in this particular case, right?
It's retrieving the secret value.
It will do it, yeah. Okay. So I can do this for multiple servers, or I could actually do this by giving it a JSON file with all the servers I want it to go and connect to.
Okay.
All right, and just pass. So here I'm doing it interactively, so there's no more servers. We're good. Okay, so now we've done that, I want to go and get an inventory of what's on that remote machine. Okay?
Okay.
So apt-container, and we're going to do remote inventory, inventory, and we give it a target, which is the IP of the machine or the name of the machine. Okay, so we're going to call target, and it's going to be that URL, that IP address, 31.38.248. Hopefully I get this right.
Hopefully.
Okay, so now it's hit the remote server.
Okay, that's good.
It's looking now to see, okay, what IIS applications are on that machine or what Java apps are on that machine.
Yeah.
Okay. And what this will bring back is an inventory file of what it's found. So if I open up this window here, you can see here is my A to C working folder on this machine. Okay. Oops, hang on. There we go. Bring it back a little bit so we can see what's going on. And I have this remote folder that's appeared. Okay. Here is the remote IP. Okay.
Okay.
And in there is an inventory.json file. So if I open this in, let's just use Notepad, and you'll see that it's found an IIS application, which is the Beanstalk deployed app, okay, which is just a default website in IIS, right? So I need this name here in a second. So I'm going to copy this.
I mean, this might be useful to some people who are maintaining legacy applications, because sometimes you inherit something and you don't even know what's there.
Right. Or you've lost the source code.
Well, yeah,
right?
absolutely.
You can use this without, so you've lost the source code. It's just going to bundle it and put it in a container. Okay?
That's nice.
So next thing we do is we're going to analyze that application. So it's going to figure out, okay, what resources is this using? So app to container, if I could type, remote, analyze. Now here we analyze a particular application, okay? So when we do that by saying application ID, again, if I could type.
This is what you just got from your inventory?
This is what I just got from that inventory file, okay? So I'm going to paste that into there, and again, we're going to give it the target on the machine that we want it to access, right? 172, 31, 38, 248. I'll have this memorized by the end of the day.
Yes, you will. Now, if you're just joining us, we are streaming live from the AWS Summit in Paris. We'll be here all day with you. We're going to be covering all types of things. We'll be talking to service teams. We'll be talking to solution architects. We'll just be getting a lay of the land here in Paris, seeing what's going on at the summit. Right now, we're working with Steve here on an app-to-container migration of a legacy .NET application running, who knows, somewhere, anywhere. Could be running, as I said earlier, in the catacombs here in Paris.
Okay.
Right.
It's completed analysis, right?
It's done. Okay.
So what it's done is, you'll notice it says view the application analysis file at, right? So it's actually pulled back an analysis of what it's seen. Yes. And then I can start an extraction process. It actually gives me the command to actually extract that application. Now remember, this is the deployed application, not the source code in a repo somewhere. This is the actual deployed running app.
Got it.
Right?
Got it.
Java or .NET, right? So if we go back to my window over here, now we should find that I have, here is my IIS default website folder.
Okay.
Right? There's the analysis file, okay? And this is what it's discovered. And I can go in, I can edit this file. So for example, you'll see that one option here, this file is divided into two sections, editable and non-editable. Yes. Okay? Inside here, I can actually go and change the base image that I want to deploy this with ultimately later on.
Okay.
Right? I'm not going to do that, right? But I could do that. And I have a bunch of other options in here as well. I can go and adjust or change if I want to change those during deployment. Won't do that. What I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to run this remote extract command that it's given me. And I'll just copy that for simplicity, all right? And what this is going to do is now reach out to that remote machine, get the application binaries and dependencies, and bring them down locally.
Okay. Now, not to get too deep into this, because I think it'll be distracting, but is this like literally reading through the DLLs?
It's pulling the DLLs down, yeah.
Okay.
Actually, when it comes down, I'll open up the zip file, and you can see it's the actual deployed application on IIS pulled down into a zip file locally.
Wow.
Ready to be containerized.
Okay.
Yeah?
That's
now,
really
if it was a Java app, I'm going to assume it would be like a jar file or something, right?
WAR file, something.
Okay. There we go. It's done. Extraction successful. All right. And it gives me the next command of containerize on screen. Okay. So if you look, it's pointing at an input archive here of a zip file that is pulled from that machine. So let's go and take a look at that. And if we go into the A2C work folder, I'm going to remote again. 172. Here's my default website. There is a zip file shown in there of the actual extracted file. And if we take a look, it has an analysis file in there, and it has an artifact subfolder. And in there, root, that's the IIS folder hierarchy. Okay?
Seems familiar from long days ago in my brain.
Long days ago, right?
Yeah,
so there is the application. It's been pulled off the remote machine, down local, ready to be containerized. Okay, so now it's going to do that. Let's take its next suggestion. So we're going to containerize this application now. Now, this is the point where I could change the container base image, right? I'm not going to do that. I just need a .NET Framework 4.8 base image, which is what it's going to use by default, right? It already knows what the application type is. So now it's generated Docker files for me to actually build the container image. Now it starts runs Docker and containerizes that application.
Without you writing a single line of code?
I haven't changed a single line of code. All I've done so far is just fired off commands and said, here's my server, go get the inventory of what's on it.
Okay.
Okay, there's my inventory of apps. Get this app, go and analyze this particular app. Now, go and extract that app.
Steve, this is going to be a philosophical question to you. You know, again, like you mentioned, you might have lost the source code to this. You might you have a lot of reasons for maintaining legacy applications. Do you see this as the long-term fix, like now I can run it in a container, I can do whatever I want, or is this one step forward in your migration plan, and then you want to, start evaluating, can you replace this with a more modern version
If I have
of
the
.NET.
source code, then yes, I can start evaluating, can I modernize this even further?
Okay.
Right, and start break this monolith into microservices or whatever I need to do.
Right.
If I've lost the source code, well, I'm kind of up the creek without a paddle, right?
That's
so
true.
at that point, I'm just going to run it in a container and then just retire the server under the desk.
Okay.
Or my data center, right? So
you could breathe a little easier knowing that
you could.
Once that server goes,
yes,
it doesn't all go with it.
I remember times when we had a build server that was literally under somebody's desk.
Oh, yeah.
And if you sneezed,
I've been there.
Down went the build server. So, you know, I've been there. This is a little bit of a safety process. So now you'll see it's actually done the container. It's done the Docker images. In fact, if we run Docker images right now on this machine, we should see that we have an IIS default website with the grid ID, latest build. This one says 19 hours ago right now. Right?
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't make any changes to it since the demo when I went through this yesterday, right? So I haven't changed anything. So, right, so we're ready to go.
I love it.
And if we go up to the A2C root here, we'll see that we have a new folder has appeared, this IIS default website. If we look into there, now we have a deployment file. And in the deployment file, I can change some of the deployment parameters.
Okay.
Such as the VPC or reuse an existing stack or whatever, right? So I'm not actually going to deploy this. I've already done this. But I could go in and change this. Now, what it tells me at the end of this is I can actually go and run a generate command. All right? So we're going to do a generate app deployment. Now, I can target Elastic Container Service.
Okay, ECS.
Or EKS.
Or EKS.
Right.
Kubernetes.
Kubernetes, right. Let me just copy this out. So all I do is I give it the application ID. And what this will do...
I'll ask you a question here, too, Steve. Since this is a container, could I use something like App Runner? Like, if I just took the image...
You could just deploy... So it's built that Docker image now, right? So at this point, you could move away from App to Container and say, here's my Docker image, deploy it to ECR, Elastic Container Registry, and then take it from there onto like App Runner or any of the services, right?
Yes.
But if you want to use App to Container to do the deployment, then you can actually do it from inside here. What it'll do is it gives you a CloudFormation template.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Okay,
so inside here now, you'll see that now there's a whole bunch of extra files have appeared, right? Including this ECS deployment folder, which has a YAML file in it, which is a CloudFormation template to deploy this application into ECS infrastructure.
That's cool.
Okay, all built for you, right? So there's the file.
I like that part.
It's quite long, right?
Built for me.
Right, it's built for you, right? Yeah.
Now, did they build it specifically for me?
Yes, it actually had an AMSG written in there somewhere, so you'll be good, right? And you'll notice that it gives me two commands, right? I have the ability now to deploy through CloudFormation and the AWS CLI, right? Or I could use our other tools.
You could use a CI/CD pipeline. You could use whatever.
You can actually have a CI/CD pipeline built for you.
Pipeline. Wow. Okay.
Right? So that will again go on and generate CloudFormation artifacts to stand up the pipeline.
This is really just launching you into modern best practices.
Yeah.
All the way from the beginning. Like it's got all these built into it. Yep. That's pretty neat.
So if we go to the CloudFormation folder, this is what I ran yesterday. I ran that CloudFormation command to actually do the deployment last night. So you'll see I've got a bunch of stacks here for that website.
Okay.
All running. Okay. This is all running on ECS. If I now go to, and it stood up a load balancer for me.
Yes.
Okay. So if I go to EC2 and then bring up the load balancers that I have, here's my load balancer. Okay. I'm going to go into there. Here is my DNS name.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll paste that in here. And we should find, here's Contoso.
Oh, wow, there it is.
Running in a container on ECS, having been pulled from Elastic Beanstalk VM, representing my application server, right?
Right.
If it's running in Beanstalk, why would you do this, right? But it's representing an application server in a data center somewhere, right?
You took it out of the French catacombs, where it was running on a box that somebody had moved down there, and you have brought it screaming into the daylight.
And if we look, the URL's changed. It's now coming from the load balancer, not the Beanstalk domain.
Oh, yeah, it is. You're right.
All right, just to prove that it is running somewhere differently.
Okay.
Of course, will it actually run any different over here? I don't know. Let's see if courses. I'll probably get another error. I don't know. We'll see.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Now, Steve, I wish I could ask you this tomorrow because you have a dinner tonight with some of the local .NET community.
Yeah.
But have you heard anything prior to the dinner? What's going on in the .NET community in Paris? Are you anticipating?
I don't know. I'm going to find out tonight.
You're going to find out tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I was very pleasantly, I shouldn't say surprised, pleasant. I was excited to hear that there is a an active .NET developer community here in Paris.
Very active, especially since .NET became cross-platform.
Right.
You know, it's breathed a whole new life into it.
Well, you and I have firsthand
yep.
experienced the .NET community in Norway together,
yep.
which is a very active scene there as well. So it's cool to see it in Paris as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it tonight.
Yeah. All right, so we've got this deployed.
That's it.
We're
done. We took an application, a legacy .NET Framework application from a VM representing our application server, pulled it down locally, containerized it without changing a single line of code, or actually even writing anything apart from some command lines, right? And then deployed it out to ECS in the cloud.
Okay. Wonderful.
Using apt container.
I love it. And what I really enjoyed, because genuinely I have yet to use this tool. I don't have legacy applications running anywhere. So I have yet to see it. This is the first time I'm seeing it. It's really neat, even solely for the fact that I get a container out of this.
Right.
And then I can run that container anywhere I want.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, I also don't have to understand fully yet the container platforms that we have here.
Right.
And this tool is going to help me get it deployed out, I assume with the best practices built into that template that gets generated for me on ECS and EKS. Yeah. And then also, it's going to drive me into a DevOps position immediately with a pipeline, too. And I don't even have to understand.
And you didn't even need to understand Docker files. It built the Docker file for you.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
So, you know, you've taken a step into the modern world with an old app without writing a single line of code.
Right.
Right.
And you know, oftentimes you don't have a lot of time to come in and learn these things prior to the migration, because that server under the desk is a liability every moment it exists, right? So moving quickly.
If you sneeze, down goes the server, right?
Moving quickly is important.
Yes. Yeah.
If you're just joining us, we are live here at the AWS Summit in Paris. We will be covering things all day today. Whatever's going on at the summit, we're going to be talking about it.
We're into special guests next, right?
Yeah, we've got a guest coming up next. We've got chat pulled up. If you're watching, you have questions, put it in chat. I'm watching. I'll get them asked, please. But stick around. We're going to have a guest join us here in just a moment, and we'll be back with more.